All right, if you've ever found yourself deep into the night in your home studio, just turning knobs, pushing faders, and feeling like you're completely guessing, well, this one's for you. We're going to talk about a pretty surprising new tool, ChatGPT, and how it can become your secret weapon for nailing one of the biggest challenges in music, getting a mix that sounds truly professional.
Does this sound familiar? You've written an amazing song. You've poured your heart into the recording, but when you play it back, something's just off, right? Maybe the low end is a total mess. The vocals feel buried or way too harsh, and it just doesn't hit you the way commercial songs do. Trust me, you are not alone in this. For so many independent artists, this is just the reality of it. It's what we call mixing in the dark. It's that super frustrating feeling of making all these little changes without having any real confidence that you're making things better, or maybe you're actually making them worse. And these problems, they're universal. That muddy low end, somewhere between 200 and 350 hertz that just clouds everything up. Vocals that are either painfully sharp or have zero body. And my favorite, a kick drum that sounds huge on your studio monitors but completely disappears on a phone. And maybe the biggest one of all, that little bit of fear you feel when you think about putting your track right next to a professional one. It's a whole cycle of guesswork that can just crush your confidence. But what if you could finally break that cycle? This is where things get interesting. We're going to introduce a new way of thinking, seeing AI not as some kind of gimmick, but as your own personal mix engineer, one who's on call for you 24/7. Seriously, this is a total game changer for anyone making music on their own. I mean, just look at the difference here. The old way, that meant shelling out for expensive studios, dealing with gatekeepers, waiting days, sometimes weeks for feedback that you paid a ton of money for. And the new way, it's all happening right inside your laptop, in your DAW. You're the one in control, the feedback you get is instantaneous, and it is more accessible than it has ever been. And this right here is the most important point to understand. This is not about AI coming in to take over your art or replace your creativity. Not at all. It's about AI completely demolishing the barriers that have been there for decades. The cost, the access, the need for hyper-specialized knowledge, all the stuff that kept talented artists from getting that pro-level sound. Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. How does this actually work in the real world? How do we go from this cool idea to something you can actually use? Well, it's surprisingly simple. We're basically going to learn how to turn those vague problems in our mix into a clear set of instructions. It honestly is this simple. Step 1, you export your track, just a WAV or an MP3. Step 2, you literally drag and drop that file right into ChatGPT. And step 3, you just talk to it. You ask it what you need, like you're talking to a person. And in return, you get this detailed breakdown of your mix, usually in less than a minute. Kind of wild. But, and this is key, the quality of the feedback you get is directly tied to the quality of your question. You can use a simple prompt like, tell me what's wrong, and you'll get a pretty general answer. Or you can write a powerful prompt. You tell it how to listen, break it down by frequency, by instrument, by stereo width, and you even tell it what tools to recommend for the fixes, like your favorite stock plugins. Being specific is your superpower here. And this is where it gets really, really cool. We're not just talking about broad advice anymore. We're talking about getting the exact, actionable settings, the numbers, that you can go and dial right into the plugins that you already have. So let's take one of the most classic mixing problems ever. Your vocal is just a little bit harsh, right? Probably somewhere in that 2 to 5K range. You want to fix it, but every time you try to cut that frequency, the vocal suddenly loses all its energy and just sounds thin and weak. So, what do? Well, you can ask ChatGPT for the specific settings for a plugin like the Pro EQ in Studio One. And look at what it might give you back. This is brilliant. It's not just one move, it's a balanced approach. It suggests a gentle high shelf to add some air back in, a little cut to get rid of some mud you might not have noticed, and then a super precise narrow cut right on that problem frequency. It's surgical. It's smart. And it doesn't just stop with the stock plugins that came with your software. The real power gets unlocked when you realize that ChatGPT also understands the more advanced AI-powered tools that a lot of us are already using anyway. So think about it. You can ask it which profile to use in a sonable plugin like Smart Comp for your drum bus to get it to punch just right. You could have it walk you through setting up an entire mastering chain in Isotope Ozone step by step. Or, even crazier, you can get genre-specific. You can say, hey, give me a kick drum that hits like Metro Boomin'. Or, how do I get a guitar tone like the Black Keys? You can actually ask for that. So what does this all add up to? How does this change the way we actually work? Well, It's all about building a reliable system. It's about leaving behind that world of just random guesswork and finally stepping into a world where you're mixing with true intention. And this is that new workflow. It's a simple, iterative loop. You upload your mix to get a baseline analysis. It tells you the biggest things to focus on. You go back into your DAW and you make those specific, targeted changes. And then you bounce it out and upload the new version for refinement. You just repeat this little loop until it feels perfect. So here's the new reality. What you have now is a second set of ears. But these ears are different. They never get tired, even after listening to your chorus for the 500th time. They don't have an emotional attachment to that one synth part that you love, but that's kind of messing up the mix. They're not biased. They just tell you the objective truth about what's going on in your song whenever you ask. And that really brings us to the final thought here. When you take away the technical hurdles, when you remove that fear of getting the mix wrong, it just opens up this whole universe of creative possibilities. So if AI can be your tireless co-producer, your objective mix engineer, what can't you create? What's really stopping you from making the best music of your life?